In the spirit of reconciliation, the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. Welcome to the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast. Gravel cycling in Australia is booming. From racing to bikepacking to simply getting off the beaten track and exploring the backroads and trails of our outstanding natural landscapes. This accessible subculture is all about community, adventure, and discovering or rediscovering the joy of life on two wheels. Join us as we celebrate Australia's gravel cycling scene and discover the locations, explore the events, and meet the people at the heart of the sport. And we're back. Thanks everyone for hanging around, and apologies for the delay in the release of the next episode of the podcast. As you all know, it's a bit of a one-man show here at the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast, and occasionally life throws you up some lemons, and I just needed to take some time to deal with some stuff in the family. But that's all sorted now, and yeah, really excited to jump into this next phase of the podcast, and I've got some really exciting stuff coming up to share with you all, which I can't wait to do. And what a time to be jumping back in. It's a really huge moment at the moment for gravel, both here and overseas. We've had the Dirty Pig and Whistle, a big event out at Creswick, which I had rave reviews from. Didn't make it out there myself, but everyone, it seems like, had a great time. A little bit muddy in the start and finish zones, but once people were through the slip and slide, I heard they all had a great day out on the gravel around Creswick. Another event that I'm keen to get involved with and haven't had the chance to yet is the Otway Panther Gravel Collective's Tour of the Otways. I shouldn't say event, they call this one a non-event. It's just definitely sort of a casual club ride, but they had over 70 riders rolling out of the Aries Inlet pub on Sunday morning. Looked like a really great loop up through the Otways, through the hills, down into Dean's Marsh for a good feed at the store. I can recommend that one if anyone's in the area and looking for a feed while they're in the middle of a big bike ride. But yeah, it looks like they all had a great time, and I'm definitely keen to get down there next year to get involved in that one. Looking a bit further afield, last weekend we had what is widely regarded as the biggest and most prestigious gravel race in the world happening over in the US. This is Unbound Gravel. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. The big event is the 200 mile. So they have a 100, a 200 and a 350 XL version of the event. But the big event that attracts the big pros is the 200 miles. So we're talking sort of 330 odd kilometers, close to 4,000 meters of climbing, starting and finishing in Emporia, Kansas. Some really tough conditions, some really rough gravel out there. But yeah, so this race has been going for quite a while now, but I bring it up this year because we had a very strong Aussie contingent of riders down at the race this year. So as well as sort of international pros, as well as some of sort of our strongest domestic talent lined up at the start line, which was really great to see. We had probably the most exciting result was Tiffany Cromwell in the 100-mile women's event. She took out the win. Tiffany's a professional cyclist with Canyon SRAM, but has been dipping her toe in the gravel scene recently. She recently won the 7 gravel race over in WA, which is the UCI Gravel World Series event, and then she's taken that form over to the States and creamed a strong field in the 100-mile event. So, yeah, well done, Tiffany, and a great result for an Aussie over in the US. From the men's perspective, EF Easy Post Pro and an Aussie ultra racing bikepacking sensation, Lockie Morton, he had a great result coming in third, so a podium finish at this race is a great result for Lockie. We also had a couple of other ex-pros. Nathan Haas was down there, and then sort of the really strong local contingent of Brendan Trekkie Johnson, Adam Blazovic, and friend of the pod, Tasman Nankervis, who all took the start line. I won't delve too much into it because I'm pretty keen that we're going to have Tasman Nankervis on an upcoming podcast to give us a bit of a rundown of the day. It sounds like he had an absolute epic day out on the bike. So yeah, really keen to catch up with Tasman and see how he got on. So on to today's episode. Really excited to bring you some chats that I had with some really interesting folk down at the Handmade Bicycle Show Australia, which was on here in Melbourne over the weekend. And I headed down and got to check out some pretty cool new bike tech and meet some real exciting people who are doing some exciting things. Particularly enjoyed catching up with some local Australian frame builders and getting their take on what a custom gravel bike means to them and what they pour into their builds. So yeah, really hope you enjoy this episode, and if you're lucky enough to be in the market for a custom handmade gravel bike, then yeah, check out these guys because they're definitely very talented, and I was very jealous of what they had on show. So let's go to all the action from the Handmade Bike Show Australia. So I'm pretty excited, standing outside Seaworks down here in Williamstown, about to attend my first Handmade Bicycle Show Australia. Really excited to see what new gravel tech we've got on show here today, and hopefully bring you a bit of a taste of the event, and hope to get to meet some really talented frame makers and see what new stuff's on offer. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, I'm down here at Curve with Jesse Carlson, a famous institution in Melbourne cycling. We're having a look at a pretty interesting new build here. Can you tell us a bit about it, Jesse?
This is the Air Kev. Sounds like a new Australian airline, but it's a bit of a prototype bike of ours, combining some of the technology from the Belgiair with the carbon seat posts, and with our most popular model, the Kev. So this one's just straight out of the box last week. Guys bonded some carbon tubes in, and yeah, we're not sure how it's going to ride yet, but looking forward to trying it out next week. It's all pretty at the moment for the bike show.
So the whole seat tube here is carbon, is that right?
Yeah, so it's a carbon seat tube bonded into the titanium. The glues these days are pretty wild. They're if you fly on an A350 or a modern aircraft, they're usually there's composites bound to metallic parts. So same sort of concept here. Plenty of other brands are using it. We just haven't done too much of it ourselves. So just interested to try it out and see how it goes. So obviously it's a little bit lighter, but it can also stiffen up the bike through the BB as well. So yeah, just interested to see how it goes. So this one's carbon seat tube. It's not an integrated seat post. We've got a separate carbon post that we've made with a 3D printed topper. So, and 3D printed clamp too, which looks pretty minimal. I don't know if it's going to hold the hold the seat post, but it's our first go at a 3D printed clamp too. So we'll see how that one goes as well.
Very interesting. I'll be keen to see how you go. Where are you planning to test it out?
Oh, look, it'll get dirty very quickly, probably along the Yarra trails near Melbourne over the next week or so, I reckon. Nothing further afield just yet.
Thanks. And you got some bike bags here too. Is that a new thing for Curve, or you've sort of been doing those for a while?
Well, this one, the frame bag on this GMX Plus gearbox, that's from Evan over at Terra Nova. Terra Rosa, sorry, what am I talking about? Been talking too much. And the front bag and seat bag are from a guy called Bucket I think he's from Girona. So he recycles or upcycles old tyres. So this one's got some old Vittoria tyres on there. So it's kind of cool seeing the tyres live on.
Yeah, it looks like you could take that bike anywhere. It's quite the rig.
That one's the GMX Plus is our sort of the bike that's most capable in our range. It's a 3-inch tyre, so great for outback stuff where you just don't know what you're going to get. Desert sand or river stones, and yeah, quite a big triangle, so you can carry a lot of gear on it. Plenty of bottles as well. We've got offset cages, so you can carry extra bottles on the main triangle without compromising room for a frame bag. So yeah, it's a pretty cool bike, that one.
What group set are you running on that? Seems a bit unique.
Yeah, this one's an Epi Gear gearbox. So it's a French brand, and it allows you to run a gearbox with drop bar shifters. So Pinion typically have like a flat bar setup, but Epi Gear allows you to run a drop bar setup with a modified SRAM shifter. So yeah, internal gearbox, pretty bomb-proof.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
So we're down here at Wheel Society. We're a custom wheel builder based in Surrey Hills in Melbourne here. We've got a few interesting sort of rigs. Can you tell us a bit about your setup?
Yeah, sure. All my custom wheels are built on this fancy PK line before transfer to this wheel balancing machine. So it's connected to the software. It tells me exactly where and how much I should add a weight, usually opposite to the valve holes, just to make the wheel more balanced. It doesn't help on the beach road, but it does help when we descend from Mount Buffalo, for example, at a high speed. Because I just want to provide this extra safety feature for all the customers who purchase my wheels. So now I'm just talking about a little bit my building concept. So safety is always the key, because instead of offering only 24 spoke count holes on the market, for the heavy riders in Melbourne, I do offer more spoke count, like 28, because I keep being challenged by so many riders or customers. They said Tour de France riders ride 24.5, and they said yes, of course, and they only weigh 65 kilo. But the average weight in Australia, we're more than that.
I think there's probably a few cyclists around Melbourne who think they should be in the Tour de France, but
Exactly, yeah, that's true. But they're not fat. They're just heavy. They're powerful. So they keep breaking spokes, and that's why eventually they came to me saying, "Oh, Ning, could you build me a really strong, robust wheel set?" Actually, 2 days ago, I had a customer who purchased my wheel 2 years ago. I asked him, "Have you ever managed to break my spokes yet?" He said, "Not yet." And I said, "Right, keep trying," because a well-built wheel should never break the spokes. We're talking about 120 kilograms of force, and then unless we're hitting a high speed at a pothole, if you have strong, more spokes supporting that weight, then it still will be fairly safe without breakage. So yeah. So safety is my number one priority when it comes to my wheel offerings.
I noticed you've got a special Wheel Society custom gravel bike over the back here. Do you ride a bit of gravel yourself?
Yes, I do, but not as much as I like to, because spending too much time building wheels.
Yeah, fair enough. Can you tell us a bit about this bike?
Right, this was just a fun project. A couple of years ago, I wanted to enroll myself for this Handmade Bicycle Show, and then I couldn't get a place. Then I thought, oh, maybe in the future I'll design my own little thing for fun, and then put my wheels on it just for demonstration purpose. And it turns out to be really nice, because a lot of people in this industry have ridden it and gave some really positive feedbacks. Yeah.
You've got a few gravel wheels. Obviously, you've got your own set on this bike. Do you have a particular philosophy about gravel wheels in terms of sort of what internal rim widths you go for and anything else?
Yes. Right, gravel riding is quite a general topic. It's too big. So I would rather to break it down to light gravel or heavy gravel. So I'm targeting not the heavy gravel type of riders. So my rim offerings are having 24 internal width with hooked. Yes, it is. It's very important. It's hooked rim, not hookless, because so far this year I've had at least a dozen customers who were complaining about their tires came off from a hookless rims. So that is heavily against my rim building philosophy, against safety. So I want to, whatever it takes, I want to add or provide this extra safety features. So now I know all the cycling industry, especially including the roadies, we're in a transition from hooked to hookless, but as we speak right now, I'm still against that trend because it's not safe yet.
Fair enough. You got the Campagnola Ekar on there too. Lovely. That's the first time I've seen one in the flesh. Is it? You enjoy the 13 speed?
Yeah, so far so good. And this particular one, it was the first Ekar available in the country during the COVID. That was the first one.
Oh, you did well to get your hands. How did you swing that?
Because I've got privilege to access to many local shops, so I've got good connections with different shop owners. So they gave me offer this opportunity to have the first ever available Ekar in Australia.
Lovely. And if people are into getting their own custom wheel set built, how do people get in contact with you? Follow me on my Instagram page, Wheel Society AU, or log on to my wheelsociety.com.au. Hopefully the new webpage will be live soon. Great. Thanks, Ning.
Thanks, Dan.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, mate. You too.
All right, we're down here at Shimano with Paul. Can you tell us what you got on show here today?
So, yeah, we're showing the latest products from Shimano, which would be the Durace 105 and Ultegra 12-speed group sets. We've also got a range of all the wheel offerings in the 12-speed range from, again, Durace Ultegra 105. We're also showing off the latest model GRX, which is the gravel wheel.
Oh, so the GRX wheel?
We have the GRX carbon wheel here. It's a fantastic wheel for those that are just looking for that little upgrade to their gravel bike. Give them a little bit of nice width to the wheel, give them a little bit extra, weight reduction and that. So it's a good wheel.
No, excellent. I heard I'm sure you can't tell me anything, but wink once or twice. I saw the new GRX group sets were spotted out at Unbound earlier this week. I won't put you on the spot about those, but we'll keep an eye out and see what comes out soon. You were just telling me you're a triathlete by background?
That is correct. So my main sport is triathlon, and anybody that does triathlon knows the saying, why be good at one sport when you can be ordinary at three, right? So,
yeah, true. But you ride a bit of gravel in your spare time?
Yeah, ride gravel. So it's a good mix-up when you're deep in your training of triathlon to, doing your aero training and all that sort of stuff. It can be a fair bit going into training for Ironman and that. So after your last race, the last thing you want to do is do more triathlon training. So I think it's a really good release to have that extra dynamic in your cycling, and that's where I go. I go into gravel, and I've gotten a lot of my triathlete friends into gravel riding. So
excellent. Whereabouts do you ride?
So we live up in the Sutherland Shire in Sydney. So our main gravel riding's through the Royal National Park. Unfortunately, through Sydney, we've had a lot of rain over the last couple of years, so the trails are getting pretty rough. But you take what you can get and really enjoy it.
It's I haven't been riding around there much before, but it's more sort of like real gravel trails, almost mountain bike sort of stuff out there, right?
100%, yeah. It's closer to mountain bike than gravel, but we also have the ability to go north of Sydney up to Gosford, also the Southern Highlands down around Barrel, so you can do multi-day trips down that way and stay in local pubs and that, which is something I'm getting into, which I enjoy. So
yeah, excellent. The gravel's never too far away in Australia. Just get a train out and jump on the road. So
yeah, absolutely, 100%. I even have started gravitating to riding my gravel bike. So coming down here to the Handmade show again. I'm not familiar with the area, but I knew that there's some really good bike paths around here. So instead of bringing my road bike, I bought my gravel bike.
Yeah, gravel bikes are great for bike paths. That's where I started off with mine, and it's to get the confidence and to get the fitness, and then you can go venturing further afield. And we're definitely spoilt down here in Melbourne. I think we've got the cycling infrastructure and also a lot of gravel road network not far from the city as well. So yeah, hope you get a chance to enjoy it while you're down here.
Yeah, I was lucky the other morning. I was sun rises a little earlier in Sydney, so we're a little bit earlier risers. But I was out in the dark with my lights on and all that sort of stuff. Did a couple of hours on Saturday, which was quite nice. It's nice around the bay here. So
yeah, I got home from my ride this morning at 7:15, and it was still dark. So it's not the best time of year for early morning riding, but we'll still get out and enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if we're not sure what we've got ourselves into. In a couple of weeks, a bunch of the Shimano team, we're heading down to Derby in Tasmania for the Devil's Cardigan, which is now currently part of the UCI. Oh no, it's the Oz Cycling National Gravel Championships. So that's at the end of June. So we're all heading down there to see how we can have a crack at the big race. So
what's the course like for that one?
I think they sort of, I don't want to say they lie to you, but I think that they don't exactly tell you the whole truth about it. But I think it's over 100 kilometres and a hell of a lot of climbing. So, and I as I've been informed in that sort of region, it's an old Scottish saying, if you don't like the weather, wait, it's going to change in a minute. So I think you get every single weather possible in the single ride. So I'm very excited for that.
Well, best of luck, and hope you and the crew make it through.
Yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it. Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Take care. Have a great day.
Down here with Scott. Now, is it Schwab? How do you pronounce it?
Schwab.
All right, I've got to work on my German, I think. So we're just having a look at the G1 RS tyre. People rave about this tyre over in the States. They think it's the fastest thing going around. Can you tell us a bit about it?
So G1 RS upgrade from the R, slicker through the middle, fast racing gravel tyre, dry conditions, still extremely grippy on the sidewalls. many of the top pros will probably be running at Unbound yesterday. So check out some of the top competitors. They'll be on the R or the RS, definitely.
No, excellent. And what other offerings have you got for gravel riders? And have you got something you think suits sort of the Australian conditions pretty well?
Depending how mucky you are, you've got the G1 all-round, which, as the name says, all-round, get away with most things. If you're getting a bit muckier, then you want something like the G1 Bite or the Ultra Bite, bigger knobs, get a bit more wet and muddy. My personal favourite that I ride, the G1R, faster, all-round, bit of commute, bit of gravel, bit of wet trail. That's my go-to.
Yeah, lovely. Have you got any insights for us into sort of what's coming for gravel tyres? What's on the horizon in terms of new tech?
The latest one they have just brought out is the Overland. So this is your bike packing tyre, goes up to a 50 mil. So for somebody who's putting loads of stuff on their bike, multi-day, harder wearing, good rolling, good side tread as well. That's probably the latest in the gravel arena at the moment.
Oh, great. I think it's hard for people to pick a gravel tyre because, people get gravel bikes because they're mixed terrain and they want to do all sorts of different riding, and I think it can be hard to know sort of where to go because tyres are so important, right? And you got to match them to your riding style and the sort of trails you want to run. So for someone who's sort of not sure, is that the G1 all-round?
Yeah, the G1 all-round. In terms of that's quite often what you'll get standard on a lot of bikes out of the factory. You don't have to think about it. You can ride on the road. You can ride with your family. You can go a bit more aggressive. If you're super aggressive, then that's when you need to have a look at the other options.
Have you got opinion about inserts and things like that?
Yes. I run a Cushcore insert in my gravel tyres. I've done a bit of racing, bottoming out, smacking your rims, gives you that confidence. Nice smooth roll. Can run even lower pressures. Misnomer around installation, they are relatively straightforward from a gravel perspective to install. Gives you a bit more confidence overall. I'm definitely a fan.
Thanks. And you ride a bit of gravel yourself?
Yep, yeah, I did the Dirty Warney Full last year, its inaugural one. I rode my G1Rs with Cushcore on them. Totally happy. I commute on a gravel bike. I do as much as I can, ride road as well. So a bit of everything, but I'm becoming more of a gravel convert.
You heading back to the Dirty Warney this year?
No, possibly. I'll be doing the Giro della Donna double header, so the Dirty Giro on the Saturday and then the road on the Sunday. So your legs will be done on Sunday. But
that's around the same time this year, isn't it?
It's mid-November. Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks afterwards. So whether I do the Dirty Warney is unsure. If you're going to do it. Fantastic ride.
Oh, it's a big day out, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I was riding, not racing, and yeah, 10, 11 hours out there, but good fun.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm here at the Lost Workshop with Ian.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about the business?
Business started in 2018. I've been building road, track, mountain, gravel bikes since for whoever wants a custom bike, really. And we've got a gravel bike here today, got a road bike and a single-speed, full rigid mountain bike.
Yeah, you've definitely got the full spectrum. It's quite impressive.
Thank you.
Just having a look at this gravel bike here, it's can you tell us a bit about this one?
This one's going to be our demo, actually. It's the most requested bike I get is like a medium-sized gravel bike, and a lot of people, especially if they're coming off a carbon or an alloy, they haven't tried steel. Have you got a bike, like a medium sort of, demo bike? And I've had enough requests now where I thought, no, bugger it, I'll put one together and, we can get it out there, get it on the roads and get people, riding it and give them a taste of steel because, I just love the ride feel. So,
What sort of geometry are we looking at here?
It's a little bit, wow, all right. I have a theory on your road to... your gravel spectrum, I should say, is that I see the road bike as a 1 and a hardtail mountain bike as a 10. Where do you want your gravel bike? If you come from the road bike side and you're not sure on Slacker Geo, then you're going to be in a 1 1 to 5 range. If you've come from the mountain bike end and you already know a bit like a Geo and you've got that trail handling ability, then you're probably going to be in that 5 to 10 range. You want something a bit more sendy. It's all just about where you're going to ride it, how you're going to ride it, and where your skills are, I think. And I probably put this one at around a 6. I try and make it a little bit slacker. It's, I think, off the top of my head, 71 degree head angle. Try and make the bottom bracket low. I've got a nice wheelbase on there. It's very stable. My bike's just a larger version of this, and I've equally commuted on it, bike packed on it, just ride it everywhere I can, and it just loves it, and I love it.
Yeah, that's great. We were just saying before, it's the best thing about gravel bikes, right? You just absolutely do anything with them.
Yeah, it's the one bike you need. If you want, you can have 2 sets of wheel sets, a slick set and a sendy gravel. But if you only have one bike, you've got to have a gravel bike.
What sort of tyre clearances are you looking to get on your gravel bikes?
This one's a little bit tighter. We're just getting 40s in here, but normally the one I did and what I will move towards is sort of at least a 45, possibly a 50. And that's probably the upper limit before you're sort of looking at something a little bit different.
Yeah, it starts to pose some challenges, right? Trying to fit a 50
absolutely.
in.
Yeah, so, and then you're sort of moving out of that, general gravel range into something a little bit more specific, and a bit more, a drop bar mountain bike kind of vibe. That changes things. It's not to say we can't do it, but I think for the gravel, it seems a lot of the companies have played around with the tyre sizes over the years, and everyone sort of comes around to that 40, 45 size and seems to fit the bill pretty well for a lot of people and a lot of the terrain out there.
You're obviously based here in Melbourne, out in the eastern suburbs. Do you have a particular thought about sort of the best gravel setup for our gravel? Or is it sort of individual preference still?
I think it's still individual preference on how you like your bike to handle, what you think is a stable bike versus a twitchy bike. Are you going to ride it loaded, unloaded, that sort of thing. The geometry, I think, it's less about trying to make a specific bike for a specific area. I think it's more about making it comfortable for the rider so they feel confident, and then they can tackle whatever terrain's in front of them.
Yeah, great. You mentioned before the gravel's sort of your most common request. Is that becoming more and more so? Like, is that a trend that you think is going to continue?
It's definitely been a trend over the last 18 months. More than any other bike, the request is for a gravel bike. And whether it's from, the mountain bikers wanting to try something new, or the roadies wanting to try something new. That's the great thing. Is like gravel captures such a much larger audience. So, it's really cool, and it's just such a good bike. You're not really limited by anything other than your imagination on where you want to take it.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I love it so much.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, Ian. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm here with Sean from Kiln Bike. Can you tell us what you got on show here today?
Well, Tristan, this is my Centennial road disc model, all made of Columbus, high-end Columbus steel, and just over here is my sheepskin model, which is again all made out of Columbus steel, all set up 44mm gravel tyres. Both of them 1-by, incidentally, which is a bit different for a road bike, but the transmission on this one is actually a present to myself.
Oh, lovely.
So
this is your bike?
No, it's my transmission, but the bike's too small.
Okay.
It's in the build queue.
Very good. I was just admiring this gravel bike you've got here. Was there a particular brief for this one in terms of what the owner wanted?
Yeah, the owner of this one is he's really very fit. In his young 30s, you see he's very elastic. He's got a quite reasonable drop, and he just wanted a really quick, fast gravel bike. Might do overnight bikepacking, maybe not. It's really like a all-day gravel bike. So, yeah.
So what's your approach? Do you have a bit of a philosophy there for a geometry for a fast gravel bike?
Yeah, it's it's sort of. I usually put people on one crank length shorter than they normally ride. Drop the bottom bracket a little bit, get them a little lower between the wheels. Chainstays are quite short on this one for a gravel bike. He really wanted it very responsive, which throws a few interesting construction.
Yeah, you've got excellent tyre clearance there. So
yeah.
that's usually a bit of an issue with short chainstays. So
it is, yeah. There's funny stuff going on with a seat tube, which is off-centred off the bottom bracket to give clearance for the back wheel. Making sure you don't have to have all those bent seat tubes. So yeah, you have to do a lot of massaging. But it can run up to about 48s. The owner says he's put 50s on it, but I think he's aspirational.
Fair enough. You've got some nice parts on there. I saw a Chris King headset, maybe, and
MV fork, rival AX. Well, actually, it's got mountain bike rear end, and then of course road front end. Also ETAP, which is why it's so beautiful and easy to do. So yeah, he could go anywhere a goat can go with that thing.
Excellent. And can you tell us a bit about Killen Bike and the background to the company?
Yeah, sure. I've been in business for 7 years, and I build probably half the business is custom builds. The other half of the business, I keep a lot of the steel bikes in Sydney running with their unfortunate small crashes, dents, dings, rust issues, when they haven't been looked after properly. And so I do a lot of repairs and alterations, which I really love as well.
So you're based up in Sydney?
I'm based up in Sydney in Newtown, yep.
Thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
So we're here at Cirque with Shannon. Shannon, you're the first person I've spoken today who I've actually gone on a ride with. I met you down at a Northern Grodies ride a couple of months ago where we recorded the podcast. I think you got a snippet on the pod. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that. I was probably huffing and puffing then. I'm not sure you could have made out what I was saying.
I think we both did. It took a bit of special editing to sort of make sure we could hear everyone, but we got there in the end. Can you tell us what you got on show here? This is a pretty stunning looking bike.
Yeah, this is our new integrated gravel bike. So got integrated front end, all the cables hidden. I guess the special thing about it is it's compatible with our old models. So we really try to do as much compatibility as we can with all of our bikes. So if you've got an older model Cirque, you can get a new headset and fork and get an integrated bar on it. But we had a lot of requests for integrated gravel bikes. So this is a new handlebar that's got a nice flare on it, and the new fork, which allows for integration. So it's been getting a lot of attention here at the show. But I think it's not because of the integration, but because of the fluorescent pink, which kind of blinds you as you walk into the show. So people have to come over here and get their eyes adjusted.
It's not just the pink. I mean, podcasting's probably not the best medium to show this off, but we'll get some photos up online. We've got pink highlights across the bike, but these I don't know, what would you call it? Aqua... Celeste, sorry. I think Bianchi might have got a trademark on the Celeste, but we won't tell them. Celeste tyres. Haven't seen these before. Are they special order?
They're from Simworks, which is a cool little shop and manufacturer in the US. So they did a collaboration with Panaracer, and this is a limited edition tyre. So when I saw these online, I immediately bought the tyres, and then I thought about how to build the bike up for the show around these tyres. It's often how I start my builds is with a special tyre. I have a bit of a tyre fetish, actually. So these ones were I had to build a bike around these tyres.
They're stunning. You pointed out the fork there before. You guys do your own forks? Is that a sort of in-house thing? Or?
Yeah. I don't know if I said before, but we are based in China. So I've been in manufacturing there for quite some time, and we have very close relationships with our supplier. So we actually design a lot of the molds, and then we share the mold with the manufacturer. So on our all-road bike over there, that was our design, and then we co-funded the mould, but other brands use it because we're happy for other brands to use it. So that one we designed. This one we worked on with the manufacturer as well. But the handlebar was actually designed by an Italian designer who has more experience in ergonomics. And the fork it's the same as our old fork. It just now has integration capabilities. So they had to change the layup a little bit, but we've had this fork for a while.
So as you said, you've got your all-road bike over there and your sort of more serious gravel bike here. Can you sort of highlight what are the key differences between the two?
The main difference is the tyre clearance. And the gravel bike has a flip chip. So we have a flip chip on the fork, so you can flip it around and change the rake on the fork, which means you can, when you're using two different tyre sizes, two different wheel sizes, you can get your ride nice and sweet just how you like it. If you've got more weight on the front of the bike, you can also change the rake so you've got more stability. So the gravel bike, it has the flip chip, it has more clearance. The frame is built a little bit heavier as well on purpose. We want these to go through as much hell as you can give them. And it also has a cast bottom bracket, which is pretty unique, and all internal cabling for both mechanical and the hydraulic hoses, all inside. The all-road is really built as a lighter version of this. So we took away we simplified the bottom bracket. We put some of the cables outside because it reduces the weight, and we optimized this for light and fast. So it's a bit more aggressive geometry. Tyre clearance is only up to 34 millimeters, but that's enough for doing what I did on the roadies ride the other day. I was riding that bike. So for a lot of gravel on good roads, 34, 35 millimeters is all you need.
I think I said to you out there that I've kind of come to the conclusion that I'd love to have two gravel bikes, one at sort of maybe one of each of these sort of things, like one end of the spectrum, because it really changes depending on sort of where you go and ride in terms of what you feel like you want in those different scenarios. So I think it's great that you've got both offerings.
Yeah, I agree. I have both bikes, and down at the Surf Coast, I'm riding this one more often now on the trails, behind Anglesey and Torquay and stuff like that, where it's a little bit softer and a little bit more single track like. Get a bit more fun on this bike. I did a ride on that bike there, and it was a little bit too sketchy. So you need two bikes.
Yeah, it's definitely on the Surf Coast where I'm feeling I would like to have a little bit more bike underneath me. But great, thanks, Shannon. Hope you have a good weekend and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Just down here at Simpatico, having a chat to Jeff. Can you tell us a bit about these bikes?
Yeah, well, I wanted a sporty gravel bike and I couldn't find anything that did what I wanted, so we built one. It's a fairly racy end of the gravel spectrum, but it still clears 45 tyres, so you can go and ride Hurstbridge down some steep, gnarly stuff, but it's also sporty enough that you can put some 28 slicks on it and ride it as a road bike and enjoy the ride. It doesn't feel slow and sluggish because the geometry is not too far towards mountain biking.
I think that's what a lot of people are after, especially roadies sort of coming off the road, trying to dip their toe into gravel. They kind of still want that roadie experience, yes, but obviously with a bit more tyre clearance. So when you say that, what are we looking at in terms of geometry? Have you managed to keep the chainstays pretty short?
We got 425 chainstays. We're running, like 65 trails. So yeah, it's a fairly sporty bike. It's not super tall. So if you've got back problems, it may not work for you because it's kind of at the sportier end of stack reach. It works for me, and it works for a lot of people coming from the road end of it for sure. Yep.
Yeah, great. So are they're stock size bikes? Are you doing custom? Or?
We're doing 4 stock sizes to start with. We may add extra small and extra large down the road, but we're starting with 52, 54, 56, 58. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And you were just showing me the difference between the 2021 and the 2023 models. You've made some changes?
Yeah, we went to a semi-integrated headset to neaten up the front end. We added some clearance because everyone wants more clearance, so we had 42 on the first bike. We've got 45 on the new one. We widened the bottom bracket to be an internal T47 instead of external, just a bit cleaner. We added the extra clearance, and we switched to UDH for the hanger, so you can get a hanger anywhere should you ever need one.
Yeah, great. Oh, they're lovely bikes. You're based here in Melbourne?
Yep, we're in the eastern suburbs in Croydon.
Oh, lovely. I've been chatting to a few people out there in the eastern suburbs. It's a nice little community of frame builders.
Yeah, it's good. For what we do, we can go riding in the Nongs, or we can go across the bridge and up into, up towards King Lake, Kangaroo Ground area. So, yeah, we're pretty well catered to, and soon we'll have the trail out through Yarra Glen next year, and that'll open up another whole corridor up towards Talangi and Hillsville, so looking forward to that.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that one. So where's that starting and finishing?
It starts at Lilydale Station, and at the moment it only goes to Yering, but they've just approved the part from Yering to Yarra Glen, so that'll all be off-road. So once you can get to Yarra Glen, you can then go through Mount Slide, you can go up Old Talangi Road, or you can go across past the Chocolatieri out to Hillsville. So it really opens up that corner as well.
Great, I'll have to check that out. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and
It's been great.
Hope you get some sales out of it.
Yep. No, it's we've had good response. People are liking what we're doing. So yeah, so far so good.
Oh, they're lovely bikes. And how can people get in touch with you?
You can find us on Instagram at Simpatico Bikes, or on the web at simpaticobikes.com.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Cheers.
So there it is, all the action from the Handmade Bike Show that was on here in Melbourne over the last weekend gone. Look, I really enjoyed getting down there. It was actually really nice just listening back as I was editing that, just to reflect on all the great people that I got to meet. It's sort of the first time since I started this podcast that I sort of got to really connect with the gravel and the cycling industry community, and yeah, they were a really welcoming bunch and a really nice group of people. So yeah, really excited to work with them a bit more in the future, and hopefully we can get some of them on to do a bit of a deeper dive into the sort of work that they do. I really hope you enjoyed a bit more of a techie sort of episode. As I said right at the start of this, I really love my bike tech, and I've been looking for an opportunity to delve a bit deeper into it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that as a slightly different flavour on this week's episode. As I said, I'm very keen to get Tasman on to give us a rundown on Unbound Gravel. So hopefully that one is not too far away. But in the meantime, enjoy your riding, and we'll see you next time on the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast.